Welcome back to What We Started EDM, where we talk with producers, agents, labels, and really anyone else in the EDM industry that can help us learn and grow. I'm your host, Ted, and I talk EDM. Today, we speak with Spiritlink, the 19-year-old who recently dropped a track with Slushii. Most recently, Spiritlink dropped a track on Subsidia, and he's rumored to have an album coming out. In this episode, we talk about branding strategies that Spiritlink is using that have paid off big time for other artists and is already paying off for himself. You do not want to miss this episode. Awesome, I'm here with Spiritlink, and I want to get started by learning how you got started in music in the first place.
Well, when I was 12, I was very big into gaming. So I just play a lot of games all day, every day. I wasn't a sporty person at all. But through that, I came across most people NCS through the YouTube videos. And at that time, I think Alan Walker Fade was just about blowing up. I think it was on 5 million when I saw it. And that's when I first heard EDM. And then around 12, I just came across the question of how they made electronic music, since it didn't really sound like instruments. So through Googling, I found FL Studio. And I started using that. So, and then for the first 3-4 years of producing, didn't really take it seriously at all. I was just messing around with it. And then suddenly I got a huge urge to really get into it at one point. I think it was when I was around 16. So I started the entire brand Spiritlink to kind of see where I could actually take it if I went serious with it. And I just kept going at it for the next sort of 3 years after that. I've been going now. I think it's coming up on 4. But that's pretty much how I started out. It was just through YouTube videos. It's been very uneventful.
Yeah.
for making stuff.
That's exciting, man. So you really didn't have any prior music experience, right? You just
No, I got zero knowledge. Yeah. I don't have any musical people in my family. A lot of people can play guitar, but that's it.
Yeah. So really, you just did your research. You downloaded
Eventually
FL Studio and learned from YouTube videos.
I learned at first through YouTube videos, yeah. But when I first started, I'd never played an instrument before, so my music theory was completely lacking. So it sounded completely awful.
Yeah, man. You started making music, right? When did you start releasing music? Because I know you released music before Spiritlink.
Yeah, so I went through 4 different names at first. First was my old Xbox generated username, Process Pack 648, classic. Then after that, I just went with my legal name, Joshua Myler. That's just. But then after, I think I went with my full name for years. After that, I think it was maybe another 4 years. I went with that, which went absolutely nowhere. But yeah, no, I released. I think ever since I started, I was posting remixes, but just on YouTube. But I officially released first in 2019 on Spotify. That was the first release I had.
When you say official release, do you mean an original song, or what makes it official?
Well, official. The difference between an unofficial and official release would be more so of you have it on all streaming platforms. So if it's just on YouTube and SoundCloud, you've just uploaded it there. But if it's fully released, it'll be on Apple Music, Spotify.
That's when you started using a distributor for your music, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. But at that time, were you Spiritlink or were you still Joshua Myler?
At first, it was Joshua Myler. And then it was, I think, 2020. I kind of came up with the idea of starting a new brand with COVID kind of going on.
Yeah.
But that's where Spiritlink started.
Yeah, man. And talk to me about this sudden urge you got to take this seriously?
I can't remember exactly what it was. I saw an Instagram post from some artist that I can't remember who it was, but there's something about it, about like just the lifestyle, that just seemed really intriguing to me. Like more so than the idea of like going to college, getting a degree, then going into work. That like none of that really appeals to me at all. Still doesn't. But with music, there's just it seems to just be enjoying themselves and having fun creating. Yeah. And that just really piqued my interest, I guess.
Yeah, man.
Like all that sounds amazing to a 16-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. And it seems like it's been going pretty well for you, right?
Yeah, it's been really doing well in the past year. For the first 2 years of Spirit Link, it was more so how many songs can I get out in like the span of time that I have. And so it's just been trying to be as consistent as possible. In the past year, like I've gotten all these connections with like Slushii, and just a lot of behind the scenes stuff is going on. So 2024 is going to be good.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, just getting started. Now it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, talk to me about that, man. How did you get in contact with Slushii in the first place?
It was through the most original means possible. Yeah. I sent him an email. Yeah. It is so unoriginal. It was literally nothing special. It was like textbook method of getting in contact with somebody.
Yes.
I'd made a song which is coming out next year. What was it called again? I can't remember the name. I have so many underneath, but I sent him a song and he listened to it. And then I was like, okay, he listened to it, did nothing. He probably didn't like it. And then I woke up the next morning to him following me on Instagram.
What?
I was like, oh, okay, I think he does like it. And then after that, I messaged him. I was like, yo, if you're down to play Fortnite at any point, I'll be down. And then we just started playing Fortnite. And that's how us becoming friends became a thing. Or then when it came to the music side of things, I think it was while we were playing Fortnite, I had mentioned that I had been working on this, like on a project for like a year, and I just finished it. And I sent it to him, and he enjoyed it so much that now with his new label, Sonic Dream, I'm going to be signing the project to Sonic Dream. And so from that, the collab came about, and now so it's just been a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, man, and it's all because you sent that original email, right?
It's all because of that email.
That's crazy, and I'm sure
what would have happened without that email.
That is crazy, man. I'm sure a lot of people in your position too might think, oh, there's no way he's going to even listen to this. So why even send it?
Oh, yeah.
In the first place?
No, see, I do think I sent it at the right time for him to see it. But like everyone underestimates the power of an email. Email is so useful in the music scene. Like everyone's like DMing them on Instagram, like Facebook, Discord. Send them a really nicely written email and you'll get their attention. Like that's the best way of doing it.
You think it comes off as like more authentic?
I think that the perfect in between when talking to another artist through email is like semi nonchalant and casual, but like professional where it needs to be. That's like you can be a bit goofy with the email, like crack a joke. It doesn't have to be fully serious, but like keep it like restraint, like be as straightforward as possible and just try and get their interest. That's pretty much the only way to do it.
You sent him
like a boring email, then like you won't interest them at all. They won't care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a mix of being authentic and also just sounding professional and
yeah, exactly,
getting their interest too.
Like the thing with the music industry is like when you're in the underground, it's fun. But once you get to like real business side of things, then you have to be serious. Because if you're not, you're just not really gonna get far with any deals or anything because you're not really trying. So being professional when you have to be and knowing how to do that is definitely a big skill to learn to, you know, grow as not just an artist, just as a person.
How did you learn how to do that?
So I have a manager who's been kind of teaching me all the industry stuff, who I've been with since 2020. So he's been kind of showing me like the correct way to approach deals or talking to artists.
Yeah.
That's been really helpful.
Awesome, man. Awesome. How did you meet this manager?
So he made a song in 2019 and I heard it, liked it, and did a random remix and tagged him on my Instagram story, and miraculously he saw it.
Yeah.
And liked it. So I just sent him more songs and he asked to manage me. So that's pretty much it.
That's so crazy. And again, it's just trying to get in touch with someone.
It's a lot of trying to get in touch with somebody, but not like aggressively trying.
Yeah.
Like, don't scare the person away. Like,
Yes.
don't be tagging them every single day to get their attention.
Yeah. If they want to be associated with you, they'll put in the work to do so as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if they find you interesting, they'll contact you. That's just how artists are. Like, if you see someone who's like really cool music and you think that like they have a lot of potential and you want to work with them, you'll go out of your way to talk to them. But if there's someone that's really boring, annoying you every day with Instagram stories, you're like, leave me alone.
The last thing you want to do is work with them.
Yeah, there's just ways of approaching it. Like, I got a message about like a week and a half ago from this person on Discord, and they sent me a demo, and I listened to it, and I said like, it's not really what I want to work on right now. And instead of his casual response being, all right, fine, like, understandable, he responded with, oh, we can do it later. I'm like, what do you mean?
What does that mean?
Like, they were like really pushing for me to work on it that day. I was like, what are you?
Yeah.
It's relax. But it's just one of those things. Don't be aggressive with the artist.
You're not. And like, do you really want to work with someone that doesn't want to work with you either? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of business side of like collaborations, but if you don't have to deal with that, then you won't deal with it, and you'll just work with people that you like to work with.
Exactly. Like for you, like Slushii is someone that you have fun with playing like Fortnite.
Oh yeah, he's such a nice guy. Like, he's a lovely person. He let me stay with him for 2 weeks when I went to LA late October.
You stayed at his place for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I was crashing at his place for 2 weeks. It was great.
That's so cool, man. What the heck?
Yeah, no, he's such a nice guy.
What'd you all do in LA?
I was just running around LA working on music with people. That was pretty much the entire point of the trip. It was just like going to LA, meeting all the people, because I live in Ireland. There are no electronic producers in Ireland. I don't know a single person who makes EDM in this country.
That's crazy.
I know nobody.
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable to be able to be in a room with other producers and be able to just work on music. So that was pretty much the entire point of the trip. So I got to work with people like Kiro, E Halls. There's a lot of really sick people.
Yeah. What did that look like? How did you guys work on music together?
Well, me and Slushii, we were sitting on his couch on our laptops.
Yeah.
It was so it was unbelievably unprofessional. It was just the most casual gamer way of doing things. Of just sit on the couch, have some food, make music.
Yeah. That's all you need though, man. Like, it doesn't need to be professional.
Like, I think I went to a studio once. Like, I went to Pixel Tower's studio, and then every other studio I went to the Dim Mak studio as well. But everywhere else that I worked on music, it was like the apartment that I rented out for the last couple of weeks that I stayed in LA. We just went there and worked on music, or in Julian's place. That was it.
Yeah. So you never really had like a real studio session, right?
I had one at the Dinmac Studios. That was the only like real professional studio session I had. But yeah, no, it was just having fun in LA working on music. That was it.
Yeah. Is that where you and Slushii made the collab, or was that done remotely?
No. So when we made the collab, I was still here working a full-time job. So I couldn't really go anywhere. But it was just, I sent him the ID, which was extremely different to the release version. But I sent him the ID and he liked it. So I just sent him the stems. And we worked on it that way. But we did work on more music while I was in LA, of course.
How, when you collab on a song with someone, do you typically send the stems, or do you send like the project files, or what's your preferred way?
I prefer to work with stems because, like, if you give me stems and MIDI, I can do anything with it. Like, that's peak like creativity, because you can manipulate audio files a lot easier than you can manipulate like plugins or like synth. It's just a lot easier when it's an audio format to just have fun with it. So I prefer to do it that way, but some people like the project better.
Does Slushii use FL Studio as well?
He uses FL and Ableton. So do I. Use Ableton now. But
you do?
I use FL. I only switched to Ableton like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I went to LA.
You just switched to Ableton.
And Slushii was showing me everything he was doing in Ableton. I was like, I need to get this.
Dang. So I'm assuming you're still figuring it out, right? There's a learning curve.
Yeah. It's so different to FL Studio, but once you learn, like, once you can use the two of them, it's amazing.
Was there anything specific that you liked better about it? Like, what did you see that you wanted?
With Ableton, it was just how quick the workflow was. And a lot of there's a few effects that Ableton has that FL doesn't, or FL has a much worse version of. So Ableton is just, when it comes to processing sounds, significantly better. It's just way better. But FL Studio, I like a lot of the features when it comes to the layout. And they have this new one where you can separate, it's like AI stem separation. So it'll use AI to take individual parts out of a song. So like the drums, it'll separate that from the song, or the vocals, you'll just have the vocal and no instrumental at all. And you can do that in FL, which I really like.
That's crazy that they implemented that into FL.
It's the thing that made it more amazing to me was the fact that they didn't make it a paid service. They made it free, like an actual just built-in feature.
Just included.
Which is really sick.
Anyone can use it.
That's
so cool.
it was a really, there's benefits to the two of them, but using both is the best.
It's just a learning curve. But once you learn both of them, then
yeah,
you can do anything. Cool, man. I want to learn more about the collab. How was the artwork made? I really like the artwork where it's like half you and half him.
Yeah, so he knows, he's friends with so I think I forgot his name. I think his name was what was it again? Jesus, I'm a terrible person. Santiago, Jesus. But his name is Santiago, and he's so good at like digital art. And so he got Santiago to make the artwork, and he just killed it.
Yes. Yeah, man.
I usually get my artworks from a friend of mine who does the artwork for the label Exobolt. Emmy, she's really good. But on my recent EP release, she did the artwork for that.
Do you send her like a basic idea, like for what you want, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, she'll just ask me, what do I want, like, the general aesthetic to be like, or like what kind of picture. So, like, I'll just give her a very like basic description of what I want it to look like, and then she'll just take it from there.
That's so nice. And typically you get back a result where like you don't need to do revisions or anything. You're just happy with it.
Oh yeah, like both Santiago and Emmy are like just really, really sick. Like they're both really good at what they do.
That's so nice, man. Having people like that you can work with.
It really is just a lot of freedom to have people as talented as them to like just help out with the songs, because it's the same thing as like, I want to like get vocals on a song, I'll message a vocalist, and if they want, you know, an instrumental, they'll ask me to make them an instrumental. It's just working in conjunction with everybody and just enjoying the process. That's the fun part. And to have people that are like good at what they do around you, that's just even better.
It's and you work with Slushii. I'm sure you learned a lot. Like you already got Ableton. Was there anything else that you learned that like specifically?
It's a lot of industry stuff, like how a lot of it works, where you can really get screwed over without even like realizing it. It's stuff like that, and it's very complicated for me to explain, because even not like I don't fully understand it. Like he's taught me a lot of like really simplistic things about like contracts that I didn't even know about before, and like a lot of different ways that you can just get screwed over, and like that, those little lessons that he's learned along the way, that's the more important stuff that I've learned from him. Because it, like, learning new music techniques is great and all, but like you could be the greatest artist alive, but if you don't know the industry, you're just going to get screwed over by it. But no, yeah, it was just a lot of industry talk and a few techniques he showed me on Ableton, which were really cool. There was one with an 808 where I've never seen anybody produce the way that Slushii does. I'll say that. Any normal producer looking at the way he produces will think he's insane. The way he does it. But no, just it was really interesting.
Yeah, man. How can you get screwed over? Like, would it be like a label that takes advantage of you?
So in a lot of contracts, they'll have like really sneaky sentences that are like, they don't, when you first read it, it doesn't seem like it could be interpreted a different way. But like if you really try and dig deep into like the actual core of what it's trying to say, it could be used in like multiple different aspects. So like a lot of labels will try and get more songs from you in a contract. So they'll have something about the next few releases you have to send straight to them. You can't send anywhere else.
That is crazy.
And I know a lot of artists who've gotten stuck in that who didn't realize. So they signed a song to this label, and the next 10 songs they made, they had to send to them.
Dude.
And they had no choice on whether they wanted to sign them or not. If they wanted to sign them, he had to sign them there. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh, and they don't even explain that to you, right? That's more so hidden in the contract?
They try to hide it. Unless they don't. Unless it's like an actual thing that you want.
Yeah.
Then they won't hide it. But they will try and hide that a lot of the times. It's that one is an easy one to spot. That's quite simple. But some labels just won't tell you out front that that's a thing on the contract. And they just expect you to read it. Like with every label I've signed with so far, none of them have even like tried to run me through the contract. They just send me the contract and let me deal with it. They don't say anything about it. So that's where it gets dodgy. Because some labels, they'll sit you down and your team and theirs will run through the contract together. That doesn't happen.
Wow. And I'm assuming Slushii's label, if you work with him, I'm assuming he's pretty transparent. You like, make sure you understand everything.
Oh yeah. No, like he is such like, he is the type of person that just enjoys being with people. And he's just an outrageously nice person.
It does seem, at least from my experience, that a lot of the producers in the music industry, or at least in EDM specifically, are all like very nice, genuine, just good people.
It is. Most people are very nice. There are a lot of people.
Most.
Yeah, I'll say most. I'm going to leave it at that. No more elaboration. I'll just leave it at most people.
No. Have you had bad experiences ever?
Personally, I've actually had a really good run of not getting hate. And I don't, it really weirds me out because I'm sure at a certain point, all the hate that I've missed out on is going to all flood in at one time. But no, I've had pretty good experiences in the industry.
It's good to hear, man. Yeah. Awesome. And I know you said you started getting into music with NCS, and specifically around the time when Alan Walker's Fade was on there, and it was like just starting to blow up. But you also have a song on NCS, right?
I do, yes. Released end of 2022, I think. It was October.
How did that happen?
It was, again, the power of an email is really it's insane. So I've had contact with NCS for years. I've had their emails. But it was kind of just me and Steven Swallsauce just made this song, and it kind of just felt like an NCS song. Like you'll have those labels where there's generally a vibe that they all go for. Like Monster Cat, they have much more professional sounding songs than NCS. Like they sound way more marketable mainstream in comparison to NCS, which is really just for background music for YouTube videos, or if you're just playing games and you just want music in the background. NCS is very background music-y sort of stuff when it comes to electronic music. So with Stay With Me, it kind of felt like the most gaming song I've ever made.
Yeah.
So I was like, we'll give NCS a try because that kind of just feels like home for it. Yeah. And then I just sent Dan, the head A&R, an email, and he liked it. So it wasn't really anything shocking of like, oh, NCS, emailed me and they want to, sign like 200 songs and all that. But it was very simple.
Yeah, man. How long did that take? Like they said they liked it, they want to put it out.
It took a while. It was, I think I'd sent it to them in April of 22. And in about a month after that was when like it really started picking up with like contracts and like talks with artworks. And then it released in October after that. So it took about, I think, half a year-ish.
Yeah. Which, from what I've heard, is not too long. Like some labels it's over a year, but it's still a lot of time.
There was one label, Future Bass Records, that I signed with that took a year for that song to come out.
What is going on?
Yeah. Some labels have a weird way of releasing songs and the timeline that they release songs with. NCS is one where they just sign so many songs and they release every like couple of days. So they just have a huge back catalogue. But 6 months is fairly decent for the music scene. Usually I sign songs, it'll take about 2-3 months when it comes to smaller labels.
That makes sense. It's a smaller label. That's pretty quick. That's not bad. I mean, 2 to 3 months is not bad at all. But a year, after a year,
it's very. Like I can, like some labels, like I had the song come out in, I think it was 2021, called Dangerous, and I'd made it like 2 weeks before Halloween, and I was talking to Danny, the owner of Bass Rebels. I was like, can we get this out on Halloween? Because I think that Halloween was like on a Friday or something. It was like the perfect day to release it. And he just said, yeah. And so 2 weeks later, the song came out.
He's like, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Like, once you can distribute your own songs, you could do it in a day. Like, it's really not that hard to really put it out. But when you're signing with labels, expect a long wait time. Like 6 months for NCS, I'm sure is very short. Like a lot of labels I know, like when it comes to like working with smaller artists, it could take a year plus. But like when it comes, the bigger you get, the sooner that they'll put your song out. sort of thing.
Yes.
Like if I had like 10 million monthly listeners, went to Monster Cat, I want this released next week, they'll do it. Like,
Yes.
without question. It's just the way that labels operate, because they know that they'll make money off of it, and it makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. So what does that contract with NCS look like? Like, I really don't understand how they make money, honestly.
Well, you won't make money, trust me. You don't.
Yeah.
You will not make money online when it comes to music. It is impossible. So far, off of a song that has like, there's 3 artists on Stay With Me, the NCS song.
Yeah.
So we have to split it with the label and the 3 artists. So on every single label contract, it's 50-50. 50 to the label, 50 to the artists.
Mm-hmm.
Easy deal. You can't complain too much. But when it gets to multiple artists, that's when there's nobody at all.
Yeah.
So I think Stay With Me got, I think it's on like 100 and something thousand streams. I don't check it too often.
On YouTube?
But on Spotify.
On Spotify?
It's on like 500k or something on YouTube, but we don't see the money from YouTube. I think the contract was, all the money went to, no, I'm wrong. But yeah, it's just a 50-50 split. Very simple. That's every contract. So you wouldn't really get paid too much.
But I'm assuming the main reason you do it is for the promotion, or why do you do it?
Yeah. So mostly it's we sign to labels for online stuff, because everyone knows you will not make money online when it comes to music off of just purely streams, unless you're getting hundreds of thousands of streams a week. But even then, like, that's not, I think that's depending on how many like good label deals you got, you won't really make money regardless. But it's really just, I think the most I got paid off of a song that got like 400,000 streams was like 200 quid. But that was over the time span of like 2 years.
So $100 a year.
$100 a year was my income off music. Sustainable at best, but
yeah,
it's really atrocious when it comes to online money making.
So how do you make money? Is it through touring, or like, what's the plan for that?
Shows and ghost productions are the 2 main ways of making money in the electronic music scene. Ghost productions not so much anymore, because everyone's realizing how easy it is to really get into making music, and how their money could be way better spent getting tutoring. And I think a lot of people are realizing that now. But like ghost productions and shows. That's the only 2 ways you really make money. And if you had like writing credits or producing credits on like a song that blew up, and you got like royalty splits from that, those are the only ways you'll really make money. But if it's just off of your own songs getting streams, and you get like an average amount of streams, you're not making anything.
Ghost productions, how much do you make ghost producing a song? Do you know anything about that?
It all depends on who the client is and who the producer is. Like, if you're a small producer, you can't bargain for much, because you don't have the back catalog to prove your worth.
Yes.
But I'm not going to get into an exact number.
No.
But I'll give, like, I've only done like 2 ghost productions in like the entire time I've done music.
Yeah.
The first one, I'll give you the first one. This was the first ghost production I ever did. I had a 0 back catalog. I had like just started Spirit Link.
Yeah.
I got paid like 300 quid for it.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was more than that. It was, I won't say exactly how much the second one was, but
okay,
it was not enough to sustain me for a month. I'll say that. If I was paying rent, I couldn't pay rent with that money. Like, it was, you really have to be able to prove your worth to make money. And that's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, especially with, like you said, everyone is realizing how easy it is. It's not easy to make music, but it's very doable if you put in the work.
It's unbelievably easy, actually.
Yeah.
People really don't get, it's not that hard. it is just a lot of time. That's it.
Yes.
It's a lot of time and a lot of dedication, but it's not difficult. All the information is there. It's just
really is.
learning how to use the information correctly, and there is no correct way. So it's if it sounds good, it sounds good. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Yeah, you said
No
Slushii.
song is made the same.
Like Slushii produces in a way that you said you've never seen before, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I swear to God, it's a sin. It's the way he brings it's a sin.
How do you produce? I want to know, like, what's your workflow?
I've been told I have a really, really fast workflow.
Oh, you do?
Like I make a lot of songs. I don't release a lot of songs. I make a lot of songs. But
how many is a lot?
Well, I can give you a general estimate. Uploaded on my SoundCloud account, I have 232 songs.
But uploaded, that's like
41 of those are released. And 19 of them are unofficial remixes. So out of 60 released songs, the 170 of them are not out and have just been made. And that's not even all of them, because that's all I put on SoundCloud. I have a ton more that aren't on SoundCloud. So I think my back catalogue is, we're really pushing a 500 mark. And just songs sitting there.
That's insane.
And that's in the past, that is in the past year and a half.
Oh, this is only for Spirit Link. This is not even.
This is only for Spirit Link. No. Like, in my time of making music, in all my time, I'm sure I've made upwards of 3,000 projects.
That is insane. That,
but not finished, of course. But I've just started a lot of ideas.
Yeah. So
the only finished songs are the ones that are out.
Yeah.
But
how do you start an idea?
Well, starting an idea, it all really depends. There's no one way of starting an idea. You could just open FL Studio or Ableton and suddenly just press buttons and something works. And you're like, this is cool. Or you go on Splice, get a guitar loop and start there. It all depends on what your brain is doing on that day. Because sometimes I'll start a song with just a synth loop that I found and kind of just manipulate that and try and come up with something different but cool. Or I'll just go on to my piano and just whip out some chords and then do something. It all just depends on what I'm feeling.
So you start with some kind of inspiration, but that could come from anywhere.
Yeah, it could literally come from there. I could flick a glass of water and it could have such a nice tonal resonance to it that I'll just record it and put it in a song.
Yeah.
That is something I've done before. I was at a crosswalk. I pressed the button and the light was going off for me to walk, but it had this really cool rapid fire beep. I was like, I could do something with this. So instead of walking across the road, I whipped out my phone and recorded it on voice notes.
Yeah.
I looked insane to all the people driving cars. I was just there standing at the traffic light with my phone up to the button, just staring at it.
Did you release that song or no?
No, it was awful. It was terrible. But
Awesome.
no, there's just fun ways of doing things like that.
Yeah, and then where do you go from there? You start with this inspiration. How do you build it into a completed song?
Well, it just depends on what you do with the sound. So, you could turn it into more of a percussive sound, and then use it as a drum loop, and then from there, you could build out a melody or chords after the drum loop and match it to the drum loop sort of thing. It all depends on what style you're kind of going for. You could just there have been times where I have one thing and then I have the entire idea for like vocals in my mind, and then I just record that over this with no drums, no nothing, and then I take it from there. It really just whatever piece of inspiration hits you first, and you can never decide that for when it happens.
I'm trying to figure out how you are able to create and like finish so many songs. I think that's something a lot of people struggle with.
See, the thing is, I thought it was completely normal to like be making as many songs as I do.
Yeah.
Until I realized it wasn't.
Yeah.
So now I don't understand it myself.
I do think that has been a part of your success, though. Getting better. It's just repetition. And
I also think it has something to do with the fact I like have no life outside of music. So
you're focused.
I had all this time. Yeah, I like that better. Focused. That's the better way of putting it.
Yeah, man.
No, I've just been constantly working on music for years, and I think that's kind of now that's been paying off. But like that takes a lot of, you could say I sacrificed nothing, but I had nothing to sacrifice. So I didn't need to do anything with that. But like if you live a normal life, you'd need to sacrifice some things.
Yes.
Socially,
to put in the
biggest part. So social aspect of music production is depressing. That is sad. If you're like a real underground musician and you're really going full at it, most of your days you are sitting in your room for like the entire 24 hours making a song. That's pretty much what that looks like.
Yeah. And that's been you before?
What'd you say?
That's been you before too? Just sitting in a room all day trying to make music?
Yeah, that has never changed.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my element though. I thrive in that space. I enjoy being a recluse. Like just not leaving the house. Like I'll go out with my friends, but I don't enjoy partying. That's just not my thing. Even though like eventually I'm going to be doing shows, partying is not my vibe. It is. I don't enjoy that social aspect of things, so I just avoid it at all costs.
Yeah. Well, I think doing shows like performing is very different than actually going to the shows and partying.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm completely fine with it. That's
yeah.
Well, I'm going to get paid money for standing here for an hour? Hell yeah.
And playing music that you want to play.
Let me just whip out the Spotify playlist.
Yeah.
Autoplay. Crossfade between songs. It's just the perfect hack.
Yeah, man. Production, is there anything that you learned that was really helpful? Like any tips you might have?
Oh yeah, there's one. If you're making the genre that I'm making, like melodic bass with like big chord stacks, there's an actual cheat sheet of things to do. Are you a producer or do you just like enjoy EDM?
I produce too, yeah.
Yeah. So like with big supersaws, you cut the lows up until, for like the actual just like chords element of it, you cut the lows up until 200 hertz. And then for the mid bass, you cut the lows up until 100. And then for the sub bass, you cut the highs down to 200. And that is just giving the sub, the mid bass, and the chords its own space to work. And that has been the most helpful thing I've learned at all throughout production. When it comes to producing, that's the best thing that I learned. Because that just instantly made my chord stacks sound like super clean.
Clean and probably like loud too.
When it comes to chord stacks, see, I could talk for hours about chord stacks because that's just my thing.
Yeah.
But that's the bare basic mixing tip that not a lot of people know.
Is there an actual cheat sheet out there?
No, there's
no.
This is just something.
Make it
like Roy Knox Affinity. They both told me this exact thing on completely separate occasions, like 2 years apart. They said this to me. I was like, "Where did you both find this information?
Yeah.
How did you learn this?" But yeah, that's the general consensus. Is just that exact technique. has been the biggest help for me.
So you said cut highs above 200.
For the chords, cut the lows all the way up until 200 hertz. For the mid bass, cut the lows all the way up until 100 hertz. And sometimes you can cut the highs. That doesn't really matter how much. If the high end is a bit messy, then just cut the highs in the mid bass. And then the sub, cut the highs down to 200 hertz.
Simple enough,
It's a very easy technique, but helps so much.
Yes. Awesome, man. What plugins do you use most? And it could be like a stock plugin. It could be like anything. What do you see yourself consistently using when you make music?
OTT, the number one go-to. Serum, 100%.
Yes.
Analog Lab by Arturia, fantastic. So good. And there's one that I've been using in Ableton on every sub-bass 808, Erosion. That is just perfect for subs. And then, this is such an OG one, but Sausage Fattener. That is a goated plugin.
Yes. What do you use Sausage Fattener on?
Usually 808 to sub-bass. Now, I don't use Sausage Fattener all the time. It's only if I want a specific sound to the bass. Like, I don't like using it on kicks because it makes every kick almost sound the same, and it's really weird. Like, if it's a trap kick, every time I put Sausage Fattener on it, it gives me the exact same texture, and I don't like it at all. But on 808s, it's amazing.
Good to know, man. You launched Spirit Link about 3 years ago, you said, like around COVID?
Yeah, 2020. I think it was May of 2020 the first song came out.
And it's been going really well. You said it's growing a lot in the past year specifically, right?
Yeah, in the past year, it's just completely got off the rails when it comes to like the background stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unbelievably cool things are happening, which will be shared soon, but not right now. It's taking a bit longer than expected.
Oh, dude, there's more to come? Like,
oh yeah. Oh, dude, I'll give you a general rundown of what I'm sitting on.
Okay.
So there's one big project. There's one really big project that's finished. Then there's a ton of singles. I cannot give you a number on how many singles there are, but there's so let me count the amount of EPs I have in the work. Now these are not going to become all coming out next year. Like these are probably going to be 2025 even when these come out, because there's just a lot.
Yeah.
But so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 EPs. 6 EPs I'm working on. None of them are close to finished. Since I just finished the big project, I'm kind of coming down from that. And then I'm going to more get into those beginning of next year. But I'm kind of just working on the background stuff now. But yeah, there's 6 EPs, one big project, which is coming out early next year, I hope. But that's the big thing that's kind of getting in the way of other things, is trying to get this thing out.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You've already grown so much. You have like close to 50,000 monthly listeners on Spotify alone. How did
to be fair, I did have more at one stage.
Okay, my bad. 5.
No.
It changes all.
Spotify, it's a super big misconception that no artist wants to admit. Monthly listeners on Spotify mean absolutely nothing. It is completely useless to look at that to really figure out somebody's growth and fan base. Spotify is super easy to just bot plays. And I'm not talking about like bots by like buying like actual bot accounts. It's in the sense of when you sign to a label, 99% of those labels nowadays will literally just pay for that song to be put on playlists for a month. Then once that month is over, your song gets taken off of all the playlists and your play shoot right down. And so every time you release, your monthly listeners will jump and then they'll drop again. And it's like the most inconsistent jump release for years. But with that, you'll slowly start to see whenever it drops, it doesn't drop as much. So now I've been like I used to like reach 100,000 streams and then drop down to 20,000, and it was just back and forth constantly. But now I've kind of stagnated at 50,000. But none of that is like really fans. I saw this in another interview that you did. I can't remember with who, but they said that SoundCloud is where the fans really are.
Yeah,
that is the most true thing. The most true thing. SoundCloud is where all the fan base is, and Spotify is where all the numbers are. That's how I put it. But like it's been on everything else, it's been extremely steady over the past 2 years when it comes to number growth. So I'm very happy with that because that's just natural growth. But on Spotify, it just the monthly listener thing annoys me. I wish it was just followers.
Yes.
Followers on Spotify would just make so much more sense. But monthly listeners is a cool number to see.
Yeah. And I think maybe the general idea made sense. Like, then you know how many people are listening to them right now.
Yeah.
But like you said, it jumps. It can jump so much. Like, when you're on.
Jump back and forth constantly. If you look at any artist, whenever they release, you'll see that their monthly listeners will go up. And about a month later, if that song isn't like multinational successful, it'll go back down.
Yeah.
And you'll just see that constantly. And that's very normal on Spotify, just with how labels promote things. But it's just basically how the Spotify algorithm works. It's just a bunch of playlists that you may or may not get added to. And people may or may not be listening to those playlists. And so it's really is just a hit or miss when it comes to how much traction you really get from Spotify.
But you still need to be on there.
Oh yeah, it's an essential. If you're not on Spotify, you are not going to succeed. It is so unbelievably painful.
Dang. You also post, like you said, a lot of music on SoundCloud. Have you seen a lot of success on there as well?
I'm currently at 2,300 followers, which I think is quite decent for like where I've signed and like the kind of the lack of working with people over the years.
Yeah.
But no, I think like the growth on SoundCloud has been really, really steady and just consistent. So, and it's been getting quicker and quicker now. So that's good to see. That's the best thing to see, really.
Yeah. Like, you still see value in posting to SoundCloud.
Oh yeah. Like SoundCloud, when it comes to royalties and a lot of other things, it is terrible. Like the audio quality, how could it be this bad in this day and age? It is unbelievable. Every other streaming platform sounds so much better.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to growing an audience, SoundCloud is just the place.
Yeah. Yeah, like a true audience too. Like, I feel like a lot of the listeners on Spotify might not be people that would actually come to your show, whereas on SoundCloud, I feel like it'd be more so people that might actually come see you perform.
Yeah, exactly. Like on SoundCloud, you'll see the most amount of comments than any other platform. It's just the people go to SoundCloud. It's such an easy layout. You can just find whoever. It doesn't matter. Their algorithm of finding artists is quite good as well. So it's just overall a great place to grow your audience. And people don't post on SoundCloud, which I'm like, why? People will just like put the song that the label posted on SoundCloud into a playlist and have that on their profile. But none of that traction is going to their profile. It's just going to the label, and they just have a playlist now with that just sitting on an account. Instead of like actively posting your song on SoundCloud, get the algorithm to your profile.
Because they do have a decent algorithm.
Yeah, it has a really good algorithm. Like I've been I post songs on SoundCloud, and sometimes my posts on SoundCloud got more streams than the labels. So it's like on Spotify, you need the label. On SoundCloud, you don't. That's very much up to you to do.
In these past few years, what has been the most impactful, you think, to growing Spirit Link?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think for growing Spirit Link, for before the Slushii release, I think it had to be I think there was one song that people like generally really like. What was it? Yeah, so one of the OG releases, All in My Head, was the first big boom that I got. It's still my most streamed song on Spotify. That came out in 2020. That was the greatest jump that I could have taken at the very beginning. And then after that, I think it was the EDCS song definitely helped a lot when it came to the numbers. When it came to growing an audience, my most recent release with Lacuna have actually been the best. So my EP that released it fully came out, I think like 2 weeks ago or something. That entire EP, as like my audience has grown so much from that, or I've noticed a much stronger audience, I guess. People have been much more interested in the brand since then.
People are more likely to listen to music just because it has your name attached to it.
I think the name is only interesting because of the character. I think that's the big thing in the music industry that's lacking. It's like, how charming is your brand? Like, is your branding super boring? Well, everyone's just going to be bored by it. Nobody will find it interesting. Like, it's as simple as. But if you have an interesting brand, then like you'll get like fan art, and then you'll have a much stronger audience because there's methods for them to like show appreciation and creative ways that they can do other things with your brand and all that. It's just, when you have good branding, that makes it so much easier. So if you have good branding, people will be interested and they will go back.
And did you take a good amount of time to create Spirit Link, to like decide like what you wanted your branding to be, what your name would be?
I haven't said this in public much at all, but the way that I came up with the name Spirit Link is so unbelievably stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it is so dumb. So I was thinking of starting a new brand. So how did I do that? I went on to a spirit animal website. What's my spirit animal? Just as a goof, to see like, will something cool come up? And it came up as a lynx. I was like, that's interesting. And then my mind went full dumbass mode. I said, spirit animal, spirit, lynx, link, Spirit Link. Yeah. That was the entire way I did that.
And it works.
Then I found out it's a big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and elsewhere. So I was like, well, fuck it. It's
Sure.
just the way it is. But yeah, that's pretty much how I came up with the name. Then from there, the ghost character came in mind because the spirit. That's fairly simple. And then from there, through the years, I think every year the actual look of the character has changed slightly. Like, it's just slowly gotten better year by year.
Yeah, it looks so professional.
That was done by my current logo was done by Santiago, but my old ones were done by Emmy. No disrespect to Emmy. Emmy was fantastic. She did a perfect job. But the visual style that Santiago has just looks so clean.
Yes.
And just very anime-like.
Yes.
So that was, the logo has progressed a lot. It used to look horrible. It was really terrible. But I don't think I have a picture of it now. I might. I don't think I'll be able to find that. But yeah, no, it's been a long process to get the brand to where it currently is. But I think the branding is the most important thing to my growth. 100%. If I was still going with Joshua Myler and I released the exact same songs on the exact same labels, it would not have had as much appeal at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting. I've not that many artists that I know of that have branding where it has even like a logo that I can visualize. Like your
Yeah,
ghost is like in my head, you know?
like most people will just like their logo is just like the text with cool font of their name.
Yes.
And I think like that does the job when you have 10 followers. That's
Yeah.
that it's just like it really is the most uninteresting way of doing things. But if you have like a really particular brand with very like out there branding that people could just say, oh, Spirit Link, it's a ghost. Very simple. And people who enjoy the ghost character, like I've gotten a bunch of fan art of people just drawing the ghost character. The label owner of Lacuna, his nephew liked the song Nobody that I signed on Lacuna.
Yeah.
And him and his nephew both drew the character.
Dude, that's so cool.
I was like, that was awesome. It's the greatest feeling when you get fan art.
Yeah.
It's just that this thing that I've been building, people enjoy it so much that they want to draw a picture of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. But the branding has been the best thing for my audience, 100%.
So cool. Yeah, I haven't talked about branding really with anyone on this podcast yet.
People don't find it important at all. And like it annoys me a lot because I'm like, that the one thing missing from the music industry right now, who's at the top? Okay, Marshmello, Alan Walker, like Marshmello. He's up. You really don't need to explain Marshmello at all. But Alan Walker, he wears a mask with a hoodie, and he goes for the gaming community sort of thing.
Yes,
that's nice, fantastic branding. And then the A and the W, it looks cool. Really, where is it otherwise? Slushii is amazing branding. Like, it's just very, like, Marshmello, Slushii, Spirit Link, common denominator. The name literally is the character. It is, the Slushii is an actual Slushii. Marshmello is literally a marshmallow. Spirit Link is quite literally a spirit. It is, like, it is just branding. It isn't hard. But it's getting that one thing, that one niche that you can really pick up on, that you can roll with entirely. And that's very difficult to find.
That's so cool. I'm going to think about that a lot. Wow.
It's something that most artists won't think about. And like, if you come up with a cool idea, but you're like, but I've been building the current brand I have, just switch.
Yes.
If you're debating switching, just make a second alias and do both for a little while and see what the reactions are to them. Like I currently have 3 aliases that I'm doing things in. There's Spirit Link, Gilo, and one secret one that has no music out yet. But they're all in completely different styles. Spirit Link is in EDM, Gilo is in like hyper pop rock music, and then the other one is in just straight pop, like 80s synth wave sort of stuff that I'm doing with my friend. It's trying things with branding and all that is just the smart decision, because you never know what's gonna work out. If you put all your eggs into one basket, it will not work. It is, if it fails, then you have nothing to go back on. So the more creative you get with it, the more chances and opportunities you'll get from it.
Wow. All right. I'm going to think more about this later. This has already been very insightful to me. I want to know, you're kind of already touched on it, but what does the future look like for you? Like, what do you want to see yourself in, like, even like 5 years?
Well, I'm still half figuring out what that looks like. But in the next 5 years, all I really want now is to have music as my like full job. I can live on my own, pay my expenses, do things. I don't even need to be like rich, just like even like an average wage. I could be happy for the rest of my life on that. That is, as long as I can live off of music, I am fine. For the next 5 years, it's really trying to get to that point of this is now my job. But if we're like looking bigger than that, I think like Spirit Link, I want to grow more as a brand and have other things going for it. And not just things like merchandise and all that, like really useful things. So like Spirit Link, I want to like, make sample packs. I want to like grow a YouTube channel, doing tutorials. I want to just do whatever. Something that's fun. I think the biggest cop-out is having a gaming channel. I hate that. Because they never end up being funny, interesting, or anything. It's just watching someone play a game normally.
Yeah.
But it's just seeing what I can do with the branding and make it as interesting as I possibly can and as cool as possible, sort of thing. So it's just, I'm still currently figuring out the real like goal of it, but it's very just, it's just fuck around and find out, essentially. You can't really do much else.
But to find out, you need to first fuck around.
Exactly. So we're in the fucking around stage at the moment. And I hope to soon find out.
Yeah, that sounds like you've already been finding out a lot.
It's a difficult place or industry to get into. Like it is a 50% skill and 50% luck. You really have to get lucky. But to get lucky, you have to put yourselves in the position to get lucky.
Yes.
Like you won't get laid if you don't go to the bar. That's the like super simple analogy, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
You'll only get lucky if you put yourself in the position to get lucky. So try things, essentially.
Yes. Perfect, man. Well, I don't know what to expect from this interview. I learned so much, and I'm just excited to see what's next for you in Spirit Link.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited for it.
2 minutes. Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Talk again soon.